Can we get snow cones?
Snow cones?
Like a blue snow
Like
cone?
a blue snow... Dude, I feel like that would be the cheapest alternative.
It's a lav mic. The blue snow cone.
Yeah, I'll have Mike.
I don't know. It's just, or no, better yet, the blue snow cone should be a shotgun mic. Or like a singing mic. Like, like the regularly hold it in your hand, like a handheld microphone.
How practical
that makes the
is
most
that?
sense because it's
yeah, it is a snow cone. Yeah, that makes... All right.
because you hold snow cones. It makes sense.
I see where you're going
and
with
then
this.
you could have the blue icicle will be the lav mic. And then
I'm still pushing for the avalanche.
The blue snow plow will be the shotgun.
Plow.
So
this is what's taking up space in your head.
Maybe. Let's see, what else? What kind of mic would the blue avalanche be?
The best one.
Well, all right. What kind of mic would that be? Would that be like a professional microphone where it's literally like you have to hook it up to a stand and everything?
Yeah, it would have to be run through an actual physical audio interface. It wouldn't be a USB mic.
Yeah.
Even though Blue's kind of known for that, which is what I love about Blue.
Avalanche. I feel like if they were to make an avalanche, it would have to be a mic of like special proportions. Oh wait, what the fuck am I thinking? It's a boom mic. The avalanche is a boom mic because it's overhead and it's bigger than any of the other snow-related mics.
Right. And one wrong
Blue,
move.
Hey, Blue, you should hire us.
One wrong move, you're done for.
It comes down on you. Dude, this is genius. We're totally not pining for a Blue microphone sponsorship here.
Not at all. It's not like we use Blue microphones to record our podcast or anything.
Right. It's not like I literally just spent $50-ish on a brand new blue snowball ice.
By the way, Blue, if you're listening to these two schmucks talking about your microphones, please know that we regard them very highly and we respect your brand. They're fantastic.
We're not being facetious or sarcastic here. We genuinely love your products. And no, we're not trying to butt kiss either. Genuinely.
Well, I believe this is our first duo episode in almost 2 months. So, welcome listeners to episode 7 of the Animators Assembled podcast. I am Project422 Films, and here I have my special guest host for this episode.
Special guest host?
He's never going to appear again.
What? No, I'm Stealthabotte, and I am one of the co-hosts of this podcast. We've been in this shit since the start, and you're not getting rid of me anytime soon.
Michael, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure. I've been a fan for a while.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. It's great.
Yeah.
So we're talking about this because 3 in a row where we've joked about it in previous episodes, but we had wonderful guests. Forgotten Tactic, Moose the Creator, and Deanna Star 7 all appeared in our previous 3 episodes. But the budget has absolutely run out, especially since I crushed us further with a bunch of royalty music.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about,
that we clearly couldn't afford either. And obviously we had to pay for health insurance too because we kept throwing around a snowball and we were hurting ourselves pretty bad at that point. But this time, we're not just reflecting on previous episodes. We're not just reacting to earlier stuff or talking about ourselves endlessly. We're actually going to follow up with an actual topic this time around. We said we were going to do it in previous episodes, but now we actually have some content to discuss a little bit more because we've been, in case you didn't notice, or in case this is the first time you're here with us for an episode of the podcast, the previous episodes we've done with guests have mostly involved a progression of topics in terms of what it's like to be an animator. So we've talked about what it's like to, discover your motivation and overcome burnout. We've talked about what it's like to be a writer and plan and develop ideas and conceptualize them. And recently, we talked about what it's like to work with voice actors and cast people and what it's like to be a voice actor and get cast. So we've been developing this tutorial crash course style series of guest episode podcasts. And now, because we're done being self-indulgent and focusing only on, this podcast is great, even though we're only like 3 episodes in, now we're actually talking about stuff that's directly connected to the episodes that we've had.
Right.
So this time we're actually spinning off the previous episode we just did, which is about voice acting. So if you want to get a little bit more context for that, please feel free to watch that episode and all the others that came before it.
We thought this was really important since the past episodes have been talking about how to build yourself up as a creator. This is going to be talking about how to put yourself out there as a creator. Because you have an identity, but if people don't know that identity, they're never going to hear about you.
Exactly.
So this is kind of that next step into getting your foot in the door.
Obviously, there's a bunch of content creators in this space, and we're very fortunate to be able to foster a community of them through our Discord server, the Animators Assembled Discord server, as well as network with all of these people through different social media platforms. But it's so essential to talk about presenting yourself and sort of showcasing who you are to the rest of the world, because you're making content not just for yourself, but hopefully with the intention of showing other people what you can do and what stories you can bring to the table, what characters you can bring to life. It's really important for us to sort of hone in on that idea and discuss it at a greater length. We talked a little bit about what it's like to communicate with other people as voice actors or as casting directors, and now we're doubling down on it and really sort of shedding light on it. Quick house cleaning again. Feel free to join the Discord server, check out our social media. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you can see our different social media handles. We do have our link tree. We have an Instagram where we post outtakes and stuff, as well as share those to our personal social media too. So yeah, check all that out if you want. It's all out there for you. With that said, as a content creator, in order to be a content creator, you need an outlet of some kind to share your work through. Social media platforms are obviously the primary way to carry out this process. If you have to build up an audience for your work, or if you're just trying to connect with people on a more personal level by representing your talents and your passions, your interests. Even if you have an in-person sort of familial friend or professional group to show your stuff to, it's also important to share it with the rest of the world beyond just that inner circle you might have in your personal real life, your immediate life, I should say. The main question here is, and I'm going to let Daniel answer this first before I talk about my answer. What are some ways or types of content you can use to get started, allowing you to introduce yourself via social media to meet future viewers and potential collaborators? Daniel, take the floor.
It's really funny that you asked that, because I don't think anyone really goes into this hobby looking to market their stuff from the jump. It's a gradual process. And for me, I started out by just posting my stuff, hoping that people would catch on. And luckily, Instagram being the multifaceted platform that it is for both content creators and people alike, you're never really going to run out of folks to share similar interests with. Action figure photography and stop motion animation are merely branches of this entire creative space. And hopefully people will start to be drawn into what you're making because they genuinely appreciate it, they are invested in your work, and I think that's how my platform is doing right now.
And at the same time, at least from my personal stance, you're creating content anyway. But it's good to also dive into content that can help promote what it is that you're doing as well as promote who you are and what you want to do. There's a whole bunch of different types of content you can post, introduction posts or videos like a channel trailer of some kind. And then you kind of want to gauge interest of people who are out there interested in who you are and what you do. You might want to try a Q&A. Sharing photos, videos of your hobbies. So if you collect figures, make posts about them. If you like watching shows or movies, represent the things that you enjoy in addition to the things that you make. You could release test footage and teasers of the stuff that you're making or want to make to gauge interest and see if people really do want to see that, or if you just want to see it based on how proud you are with the results of whatever it is that you made. You could reach out to fellow creators for work in different capacities if you want to be like a writer on someone's work or a voice actor for someone's work. So if you make friends with people in the community, when we have a friend that's working on something and they've posted about it, we tend to share it too to sort of get more eyes on it, and they do the same for us. You could also ask creators for tips on how to improve upon yourself, and that's a good way to establish yourself within a community by having other creators know you personally and sort of foster that mentor pupil student relationship, I guess. And you could just make things that showcase yourself and other creators just on a general level, talking about who you are. Like, for example, I talk a lot about my background as a theater performer. And although that doesn't always directly translate into the content I'm creating or the performances I'm doing as a voice actor, it's still very much a core part of my personal identity, both beyond the platform, and it also ties into what brought me here to the platform. So you could have all of these different things showcased in the content that you're creating. You want to really focus on highlighting yourself. You want to present yourself in a way that's authentic to you. And you can be confident, you can be humble at the same time, and just really express yourself. And there are plenty of ways to do it. There are different algorithms for different social media platforms. You might want to do some digging on that if you really want to cultivate a following quickly. Or you could just, post what you want. And post what you want to do. It depends on the relationship you have with your social media and the relationship you have with presenting yourself and marketing yourself towards the rest of the world. There's so many different ways to get involved with representing yourself through social media or other means. Your mileage may vary. It depends on what you want to do in terms of how committed you are to building a following, or if you're doing this as a hobby for fun. You don't have to put pressure on yourself to make something that would necessarily appeal to everybody, but you can also make stuff that does, stuff that might be more targeted and gauged towards general audiences, and you can find a healthy balance with that too. There's a lot of experimentation, a lot of trial and error with this, so test things out. You might not know what results you'll yield from your different experiments that you conduct. So we talked about the fact that there are different ways and strategies that you can use to build up a following or really showcase who you are. But social media, we've been talking about it very broadly, when in reality, each social media app has a completely different UI or user interface. And some have certain features that allow you to connect better with like-minded people who may not only become your viewer base, but may also become potential partners in creating future content. That's kind of what happened with Daniel and I a little bit. We were both independent creators who connected through digital means, even though he first reached out to me through email professionally, but we also knew each other through Instagram, through social media. And there are different features with each app. Instagram has different features from YouTube, same with Facebook, Twitter, Discord, TikTok. There are so many different social media platforms out there that you can utilize. A good question to ask is, what features are you looking for or relying on with social media apps? And how do they help introduce you to potential viewers and collaborators?
My head immediately goes to Instagram just because of how accessible it is for everybody. I do think that Instagram is, not only is it super comprehensive, but it has everything you need within it. You have the ability to post photos, videos, longer videos now than there used to be before. Like, I think you were limited to 15 seconds a piece. Now you can do live streams, you can reach out through DMs with people, and yeah, so I think Instagram is the place to start for that. Twitter is a little less so, even though there are more people on Twitter, I think, so that's really neat.
The key thing that I'm looking for in social media platforms in general is versatility, and Instagram absolutely has that in spades. I want to be able to share all different kinds of content in all different kinds of ways. So I love sharing videos themselves, so longer form videos too. I don't like being contained to a video limit, and Instagram improved that fairly quickly. So I know what it's like to work within limits, and it can be a lot of fun. But I like having it as an option rather than a forced fit thing. And that's why I'm a little hesitant to utilize TikTok. But at the same time, I do love the option to make that kind of content. But in regards to versatility and flexibility, I like posting longer form videos. I know that back during the whole COPA or COPPA situation for YouTubers, the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, there was a genuine concern that collectors, animators, anyone who utilizes quote unquote toys according to the masses, the general public and populace and people, if you use toys in your videos, that could potentially threaten your ability to make content. And during that scare, I was genuinely already about to start uploading all of my content to Instagram because of Instagram TV existing. A bunch of people actually migrated from YouTube when that happened. My first thought was, okay, well, I already have a following with Instagram, and now you can actually make and release long form content through Instagram. This might be the natural progression of things. And for me, Instagram was kind of the starting point of my content creating career. I did have YouTube first, and I also had Vine, but Instagram was the profile that I really took advantage of. There were a lot of different things that I could post, and the features just kept growing and growing. On top of the long form videos that were more recently issued as a feature, You have swipeable posts now, which is really great because I love doing collages. I love having multiple images and video clips and stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. So having more to post within a post is great. I also love Instagram stories. I use them all the time. I know they kind of ripped that off from Snapchat, and I know they ripped off the longer form videos from YouTube, and I know they ripped off Reels from TikTok quite shamelessly. And they've been known to do that, and DMs came right from Facebook Messenger as well. But having all of those functions in one form factor, in one place, it really makes it convenient. It allows you to not only create content and share content in a whole bunch of different ways, but you can also directly connect with people. You can comment, you can share posts, you can do direct messages, group chats, you can do video calling and voice calling through Instagram now. You could do live streams as well. It's very intuitive. Anyone can pick this up and learn it within 5 minutes. And you can really take advantage of all of those functions and really explore your own interests as a creator and explore all the different ways you can express yourself. There's so many more outlets all within the same place. It builds your legacy. The longer you have social media and the more you use it, the more familiar people will be with you and your work. So it is so crucial to take advantage of something, especially if it has a lot of features. I know YouTube has started to diversify itself a little bit more. You have community posts, you have live streams still. I think you have YouTube stories if you're at certain thresholds and stuff like that. So YouTube is also doing it as well. But ultimately, you want to use a social media that doesn't limit you, but gives you all kinds of avenues to help you grow and learn. So on that note, if you want to make friends or partnerships with creators who are like you, beyond simply just posting and marketing yourself within your own platforms, there are obviously different methods and means to reach out. There are text-related means like Instagram DMs or emails, which are both that we've used to build our friendship, as well as more direct and versatile ones like phone or audio and video calls, which we're using right now to record the podcast. What is a good way to make initial contact with creators that you want to befriend or collaborate with? And what's your preferred method of communicating overall after establishing that relationship, whether it's strictly professional or more friendly?
I think that just by being yourself and trying your best to communicate with other people without a facade is a great way to break barriers. The very professional, very strict barrier that prevents you from talking to other people or reaching out, whether it's the comment section or Instagram DMs. Don't be too stern when you're in the be personable.
Be you.
Yeah,
be you, but don't be a joke, okay?
Yeah, so emails, DMs, perfect. And sometimes comment sections if you're not lost in the sea of other commenters.
That's an interesting point. That's one that I almost completely overlooked, admittedly. The comment section is another great way to establish a rapport with people and on a very base level, interact. You're responding to someone's post or responding to someone's upload, whatever it may be. So it's really cool to utilize that very short form of communication, but it's still communication nonetheless. Another important thing that I almost overlooked as well is commenting versus direct messaging is public versus more private, personal forms of communication. When you're commenting on something, it's something that everyone else can observe. Whereas if you're going a more direct route by nature and by design, it's more one-on-one or more contained to whoever else is in there with you. So the means that you use to communicates something about you. Sending a comment is a completely different communication from sending a text or a direct message. There's a lot of different ways to utilize that interpersonal communication, and that's so crucial in order to develop any kind of relationship with anyone. Daniel mentioned the fact that he and I use Instagram DM. We also use Discord. Both of those are very different. There's a lot more you can read into with a text compared to what you can interpret from a more direct communication like a voice call or a video call, because you have vocal inflection, you also have facial cues. So each communication says something different, and using different communications, different means of communication, can also add dimension to a relationship that you may have. So you might want to use more than one outlet in order to communicate with the same person or the same people.
There's only so much you can do with an email versus the constant back and forth of the constant convenience of direct messaging. Right? You have
exactly.
If you send a message, 2 minutes ago, I could receive it now, and I could respond now, or I can respond later, but I can let the other person know that you've seen it.
Because we have very different lives. Every person has a completely different life. There's only so much time in each person's day. That's universal to everybody, even though what we do with our days is potentially completely different. Even though we're in this community where we all share a similar hobby and a common interest and a common goal, that doesn't mean the lives we lead beyond this work are in any way identical. Because they're probably not, chances are. Your life as a content creator does not exist in a vacuum from the other things you are or do. With that in mind, how much time do you feel you should spend on connecting with others versus honing in on your own work or living your life beyond the platform?
Yeah, another solid question. Look at you go.
I'm a good student. I told you.
Life as a content creator does not exist in a vacuum, as you said, and I think the opposite is true. I think that whether your life is content creating or just in the real world taking place, it's still your life. You know what I mean? And that's still part of you committing to something that's part of the real world. It's not in your head. It's not something that you can put off for later. And it's not even something that you can hop on every once in a while and completely ditch, because these are people as well. And you have promises and you have commitments and you have other people to honor and other people to communicate with. There should be a fine line between your personal life, like your family or other obligations that you have outside of your hobby. A hobby should not maneuver everything else that comes in the way of living, essentially. And if you're doing this for a job, it's another thing to look at it as, I have to do this on a daily basis as consistently and as professionally as possible because this is how I perform, this is how I provide. You have to kind of hit the sweet spot of being in the moment and being in the know of everything that is going on with your peers, whether outside this space or within it.
For me and my answer on this, I think that there's a give and take with each because of how busy my life is just in general. So some days I'm barely online. I'm almost completely offline. There are times where I'm just not at all connected with whatever it is that I do online. I'm very much immersed in my personal life and my reality beyond this digital one that I've created for myself. And then there are other times where I'm completely cut off from the in-person reality, especially when reality is so tough to kind of deal with. It's important to maintain your relationships and your community and your friendships and family and all of those things in whatever ways you can. So for me, there are times to outweigh focusing on myself and what I'm working on with keeping in touch with people, whether it be digitally or in person. Sometimes I need to be really focused on my priorities in my life beyond what I do here. And then sometimes I really just need to get down to the nitty and the gritty and really focus upon what it is I want to work on, where your life literally exists because you need, not just want, but need to make something and do something. So each one kind of comes in and out. It's like a freaky circle, man. Depends on the day, depends on what I need, depends on what's going on with my calendar, with my schedule. But generally speaking, just paying attention to all of it and shuffle it around.
This is a bonus thing to touch on, that all of this marketing, networking, communicating, all a form of promises.
It is a professional and personal commitment, admittedly. Right. And we kind of glanced over and glossed over the fact that this is both personal and potentially professional too.
It's a good reminder that this thing is not for the faint of heart. You got to know your limits. You got to know when to call it, when to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue. The Animators Assembled Discord server has given me a chance to continue to strive to do better in terms of myself, because people are counting on me. I am counting on people to help me out, and it's a give and take. And that's what I love about this dynamic.
Through Animators Assembled, we aspire to do better and be better for ourselves and for others. Through this podcast, I feel that both Daniel and we've been able to hold ourselves and each other more accountable in creating content for whoever you are listening to it. This hasn't been an easy journey for us. Not only getting to the point where we can feel like we're qualified enough to talk about this without feeling like imposters. I don't know if past versions of ourselves could have been able to maintain something like this or do something as outside the box as this. And the fact that we desire to continue to build a prosperous community and help all of us do better and be better in the long run in our own lives, whether they be within this platform or beyond this platform. It's so important to the whole point of social media. We kind of keep touching on it. I know that there's a whole professional element, how you can take the work that you do here and expand upon it in a professional capacity, but that's a conversation for another day. But the point that we're trying to get across here tonight, or whenever you're listening to this, social media is social for a reason. You're trying to connect with other people, and you're trying to present the best version of yourself that you can be, and hopefully aspire others to push themselves to be the best version of themselves that they can be. At the end of the day, you're networking. And although there are professional implications for this, you could go the distance with it. You could really build a career out of this, whether you want to work in social media or marketing or communications or filmmaking, voice acting, writing, all these different creative capacities and so many others that I can't even think off the top of my head. But at the same time, this is so personal and important. This is fostering an identity for yourself, a digital identity. If you don't take advantage of that, you're really missing out on something beautiful. We're not guaranteed experts on all of this. This whole podcast is a culmination of the experience that we have garnered for ourselves. This isn't universal. Your mileage may vary. This might not.
You are listening to two goofballs in crime who are still trying to see which key fits and making sure that we're able to maneuver this in the best way possible.
Even when you're listening to the answers that each of us give, clearly both of us have different outlooks from each other as well.
And no doubt you will too. You know, you listening will take different things from it and experience a variety of things that we might never experience ourselves, and we are just a medium to discuss how we see things and how we've experienced certain things and how we continue to go on about doing things.
It ties back to the whole notion that each of us have a completely independent individual life from one another, and so the way we see things might not see eye to eye. But hopefully you've enjoyed listening to this. At least you've been entertained by listening to this. Hopefully it was educational for you too. Whether or not you can apply it to your own life, I don't know.
Thank you for listening either way. We are incredibly grateful for your time.
Absolutely.
In short, I love you, buddy. Thanks for responding to my Instagram DM all those years ago.
Yeah.
And my email.
And thank you for bringing me back into this shit show. Because,
come on.
Yeah. All right. Last thing to talk about. I know we kind of wrapped it up. I'm sorry. But there was a time where I was genuinely thinking about walking away. At first it was temporarily, but then I was at peace with the fact that I might never go back. I might never return to this, even though I loved it. But because of the relationship I established with you, it was a professional one at the time that exploded into a far more personal one. One of my best friendships, genuinely. Because of that connection, I'm here now, and this podcast exists now. And my channel Rebirth exists, and all these other things that I've been able to do that I wouldn't have been able to do had it not been for that one connection I made with that one person that one time. You don't realize how much of a butterfly effect or domino effect these things could potentially have, but it could really make all the difference in the world. So I implore you to think about the stuff that we've said here and think about how it affects you and think about what this could mean for you going forward.
Thank you for your friendship, Michael.
Thank you for yours. And like we always say, we say it at the beginning of the episode and we'll say it again at the end. Feel free to check out the Animators Assemble Discord server. Check out our social media through our various links that we have. And yeah, so now officially that is the Dunsky cut the check moment of the episode. Is there anything else we need to do?
Well, to close things off, Michael and I are going to play a game of Mad Libs, so take it away, buddy. I think you got something ready for us.
All right, give me an adjective.
Small.
Give me a nationality.
Canadian.
Give me a name of a person.
Craig.
Give me another adjective.
Big.
Give me a noun.
Toy.
Give me another adjective.
Strong.
Another adjective.
Hot.
Give me a plural noun.
Feet. Oh, Forgotten Tactic's gonna have a ball with that one.
Oh, God, all right. Give me another noun.
Phone.
Give me a number.
422.
Oh, I hate you.
No, you
give
don't.
me give me shapes.
A pentagon.
I thought you were gonna say hex. Give me a food. Cookie?
Cookie.
A chocolate chip cookie.
A chocolate chip cookie.
There we go, bringing that one back. Give me another food.
Milk. Does that count? Cookies and milk? No.
Sure.
Fine.
Sure.
Whatever.
No, milk.
Cookies and milk.
Give me another number.
7 for episode 7.
Bet. Okay, this Mad Lib is called Pizza. Pizza was invented by a small Canadian chef named Craig. To make pizza, you need to take a lump of big... Oh, wait, no, I told you noun, right? Shit, we already picked this up.
A lump of big.
Give me a noun, quick!
What? A lump of big. That's so much funnier.
Give me a noun. Come on.
Oh my god.
Hurry. All right, you want? No, Ben Affleck. He's coming back.
Fine.
All right. Pizza was invented by a small Canadian chef named Craig. To make a pizza, you need to take a lump of Ben Affleck and make a thin, round, big toy. Then you cover it with strong sauce, hot cheese, and fresh chopped feet. Next, you have to bake it into a very hot phone. When it is done, cut it into 422 pentagons. Some kids like chocolate chip cookie pizza, the best, but my favorite is the milk pizza.
That sounds so gross.
If I could, I would eat pizza 7 times a day. All right, that's it. That's done.
Aw, thank you.
That's a wrap.
Thank you. That was rough. All right, cut.